This podcast is brought to you by Convo Cloth, the official clothing apparel of the NBC podcast. For the latest apparel, please go to www.nothingbutconvos.com. Now, let's get into the latest episode of the NBC podcast with your boy, S. McCann. What's good, people? It's the NBC podcast with your boy, S. McCann. And this is episode 19, Eagles Week 2 review. And in week 2, we didn't come out with the win, but it did show that our team can play with the big boys a little bit. And I know we got some work to do. But again, we're going to have some growing pains, like I said in my last pod. So sit back and relax. Episode 19, Eagles Week 2 review. Let's get it. Eagles Week 2, it was 17-11 49ers. We only scored 11 points. We had a lot of times that we could have scored in that red zone, and I'll get into that later in the pod. But if you hold a team to 17 points in the NFL, you should win that game. So stats from the game, from the 49ers side, their total yards was 306, 189 passing yards, 117 rushing yards, and they got 4.5 yards per play. That seems to me that this defense is one of those defenses that can win you games, which they showed you. They only gave up 17 points. We should have at least put up 20. The 49ers had only 5 penalties. The time of possession was a little over 34 minutes. On our side, the team stats, we had more yards, 328. Passing yards was 177. Rushing yards was 151. And total yards per play was 6 yards per play. Again, these numbers won't wow you, but we had better overall total yards than the 49ers. Let's get into the major injuries that happened that game. Brandon Brooks went down with a pectoral. He's on injured reserve and is not expected to return until week 10. Brandon Graham, the heart of our defense, went down with an Achilles injury, and he's out for the whole season. And so with these injuries, Brandon Brooks, he's always hurt every year, so we already know how to play without Brandon Brooks. But Brandon Graham is an Iron Man for our D, the heart and soul, and we never played without him for an entire season. The defense took a big loss, but I think we have some players that will step up. I have a few takeaways from this game. The coaching was horrible in the red zone. We had some time in the red zone this game that we should have capitalized on a few plays. We got a holding call on the one corner when Devontae Smith went to hit the slant in the end zone, and then that was holding. We got a whole new first down and everything. So we got new downs. You have to come up with points in the red zone. That should be the number one key to any team in the NFL. Score in the red zone. I just think that the 49ers had a better coach. We got outcoached this game. We didn't get outplayed. We got outcoached. And so, again, we're going to have these growing pains with a new rookie head coach, new quarterback that's basically a rookie. We're going to find out. They're still going through the motions of this is their first time. All I'm hoping is that they learn from their mistakes and just grow on this game. We only lost by 6 points. It was a close game throughout. From that touchdown that Jalen threw to Jalen Reagor and he stepped out, that was a game changer right there. That right there would have just won the game right there. We would have converted on that. And that's just paying attention to detail, not being too far to the boundary line when you're running your routes and all of that. I just think that particular point in that game, it was just like, boom, if we hit that, the momentum would have been ours through the whole game. The offense played okay, I guess. They could have played better. The O-line was getting pushed around a little bit. And what can you say? The 49ers defensive line, even the whole front seven is crazy. They got stars all over that field. So to have chances to score against that defense, that's a promising sight for the Eagles. Because a lot of defensive lines in this league are not as good as the 49ers. Jalen Hurts, my next takeaway will be Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, he didn't play the best game that he could have played. He missed a lot of throws. If you go back and look at the tape and watch the tape from Breaking the Birds on YouTube, he'll break you down on every throw that Jalen Hurts made throughout that game. And again, he was getting pressure from that defensive line. Some of those throws and some of those reads that he was making, he had to make the best of it. But again, we go back to he's a young quarterback. Every young quarterback in the league that started missed reads, missed throws, and all of that. I think that he has to be better in throwing the ball, not holding on the ball too long. Throw it when you need to throw it. And I think that he's a smart enough kid to fix the mistakes that he made. It wasn't a lot of mistakes, but they'll fix and they'll hit on these plays because the offense, Devontae Smith was cooking all the corners. Oh my goodness. He was open 90% of the time. And some of those long balls, Jalen Hurts should have thrown a little bit earlier to throw him open because he burnt the guy. He should have just threw it bang. And he has to trust his receiver. And again, last year, he didn't have no receivers when he was in the game to trust. So he has to learn how to trust Devontae Smith because Devontae Smith is a great route runner and he was mostly open that game. When Brandon Brooks went down, Landon Dickerson came in and he's going against the best defensive line in the league. He was getting murdered out there, man. That was crazy. Like, he held his own on some of the pass plays, but most of the pass plays, he was getting pushed back, and that pressure was getting into Jalen Hurts' face based off of the rookie. He just got thrown out there. He's coming off an ACL injury. I think that he'll play better because he got his first action of real-time football in the NFL. Jordan Mailata, he did very well holding up his end. He was going against Bosa. You're going to give up a little bit, but he held his own. I think Pro Football Focus had him number 1 rated left tackle this week, but he did hold his own. And I'm not mad about that. It was one play that he did get pushed back into Jalen Hurts, but that was like the only play that I've really seen. But again, you're going against the Bosa brother. He's a beast. And my next takeaway is Devontae Smith already said that he was getting to it. He was running those routes, getting open and everything else. But again, that pressure that was in Jalen Hurts' face didn't the timing off of the routes and everything. But I'm pretty sure that they will clean that up for the next week. The 49ers, their cornerbacks was very vulnerable this game. And I'm just a little disappointed that we didn't take a little bit more shots at those corners, a little bit more crossing routes and all of that, slants, slant routes, work the middle of the field with the tight end, put a little bit more pressure on those defensive backs, that back end of that defense. The next takeaway is RD played a hell of a game. They only let up 17 points. The only mistake that I seen from that was the defensive coordinator, the coach. I think they let up before the half, and that's where the 49ers went down and scored. But other than that, they did play a solid game. And another question throughout that game that I had was, where was Sweat, our DN? I didn't see him throughout the game. I'm like, is he in? Is he playing? Where is he at? And then once I started watching the game, I seen him in, and then I didn't question it too much. But when you look at the snap count after the game, he only had 28 snaps. You paid him all of that money to just give him 28 snaps? Nah, something is up. You gave him 40 mil. He got to play more than 28 snaps. That's just 40% of the game. That was mind-boggling to me. To wrap that up, all in all, we did play a good enough game to win. Not the best game, good enough to win. And then in the NFL, if you played the game good enough to win, you have to win those games. It's just a little attention to detail. Those little things that you don't hit in the red zone, or if you step out on a touchdown, those little things matter in the NFL, because you see that touchdown that got pulled back, that could have been a win touchdown to win the game. That can bite you at the end. I really like this team. I think that we will shock the world based off of what we're up against. The defense is solid, as you can see throughout 2 games. They only gave up 23 points through 2 games. This week, keys to week 3, playing against Dallas. This won't be an easy game. Dallas, they are our rivals. I'm no hater. And I know a good team when I see it. That's a good team. They got a top flight quarterback, 2 running backs, 3-4 receivers, a okay tight end, defense, front 4 is good, minus the DN that got hurt is out, and then they just popped a rookie in there, rookie linebacker, and he was just getting pressure all over the place. The only weakness on Dallas that I see is their DBs. You got to go after those DBs, man. You got to put those DBs in situations that stretch them out. You got to make them think. You got to do a little bit more in the route running, in the passing game, and then you got to go after them. You have to test the corners. I would like us to continue to run the ball, and if it's with Jalen Hurts, if it's with Miles Sanders, continue to run the ball. And then you have the rookie out there, run it with him, throw it to him. I really think that if we can do that against Dallas, that'll be tough. Like I said, our rookie, Kenneth Gainwell, you have to get him more involved in the passing game because he's a mismatch. Just like where we used to use Sproles. It's sort of the same way. The Brian Westbrooks, the same way. Look, have 2 running backs out there. And now teams don't know if you're going to run it or if you're going to pass it. Miles Sanders, he's a good enough back that can pass protect. You can have him protecting the quarterback, and then you can have Kenneth Gainwell out there splitting out wide. Now you stretching the defense out. That's what I want to see. Stretch the defense out. Bring that corner down. Bring that linebacker down. And now you got all that in the middle of the field to work with, because now you have to have that extra linebacker, or they're in dime. Yeah, they're going to go right in dime and have an extra cornerback. Now you can run it. Bang, run it. They go back to a nickel or whatever. Now you can pass out of that. But again, you have to create mismatches on the field. You have Dallas Goedert. He's a good route runner. You have Devontae Smith. He's a good route runner. Zach Ertz should be playing this week. He did go down with having COVID, but he got the vaccine, and so he has to test, I think, 4 straight days before he can come on the field or something like that. But again, you have viable people to work the middle of the field. We need to start working the middle of the field. Once we do that, work the middle of the field, teams ain't messing with us. Stop trying to throw the ball deep. Stop doing all of that and work the middle of the field with the slant routes and all of that. Our D will be solid against Dallas. I'm not worrying about the D. I really think that we will hold Dallas to 20 points. That's a winnable game. If we can hold Dallas to 20 points, that's a winnable game. Now, we just have to score. If we can score down in Dallas, I think we can win that game. But again, a lot of people that are Eagles fans might hate Dallas and everything else. I got to give respect where respect is due. Dallas is a good team, and they could win the Super Bowl if they put everything together. It's no hating that. Hopefully we can put a game plan together that's solid. Coaching is on point. Special teams is on point. Defense is on point. All phases. Offense is on point. Jalen Hurts is hitting his receivers, making good reads out of the zone read and throwing the ball. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for an all-around solid game with all phases of the game. If our team can do that, I think we can beat Dallas this week. But again, it comes down to that coaching, putting the players in the right spots to be successful. And I think that we will do it, and I think that we are going to do it against Dallas. And so with that, people, Monday night, I'll see all my Birds fans watching that game, tweeting about it on IG, on Facebook, texting me about it. You know how we get down. Beat Dallas. Week 3. Let's get it. So that was episode 19. Eagles Week 2 review. And I know my team has a lot of work to do, but we are showing signs that we can hang with the big boys. Our defense is stout. We can run the ball when we want to, but we got to get that line right. Jalen Hurts, he's progressing. And all I want to see is our team just get better and better. And yes, the outcome against the 49ers wasn't the best outcome that we wanted because we didn't get that dub. But again, it's progression. It's learning from your mistakes. And so that's all we got to do. We learn. And I think we're going to be there at the end. So this week is Dallas. And all I'm going to say is beat Dallas. Because we can. So with that, people, stay safe, give respect, and show love. 1.